Hello there, you're watching Africa News, bringing you the top stories on the continent, the headlines. Burkina Faso names the former Foreign Minister Michel Kafando as interim president. This a day after political and military leaders outlined a year-long transition to elections. My dress, my choice. In Nairobi, protesters expressed outrage after a woman is filmed being attacked in the street by a group of men for wearing a miniskirt. And the 6th edition of the Tour of Rwanda is well underway. The international competition brings together cycling enthusiasts from across the globe. We begin in Burkina Faso, where political and military leaders have chosen the country's former foreign minister, Michel Kafando, as interim president. The 72-year-old's appointment comes after leaders signed a charter outlining a 12-month transition to elections on Sunday. Kafando is expected to lead the country until a civilian government is chosen in 2015. This following President Blaise Compaoré's resignation last month. Charlotte Hawkins reports.
Michel Kafando named interim president. A diplomat and former foreign minister, now he'll be Burkina Faso's caretaker during the transition. It's a first step back to democracy, 2 weeks after former President Blaise Compaoré stepped down under pressure from the people.
This is more than an honor. It is an awesome responsibility that falls on me. I already foresee the pitfalls and the immensity of the task.
Kafando takes over power from Lieutenant Colonel Isaac Zida, the country's strongman since Compaoré's fall. The final negotiations were swift. The transition committee, representing civilian groups as well as army members, chose Kafando from among the candidates interviewed over Sunday night.
The army heard the people's cry. We can only say thank you.
The transition charter was officially signed on Sunday afternoon by military and civilian representatives. This document, an intermediary constitution. It will serve Burkina Faso until the inauguration of a civilian government following elections, planned for November next year.
A doctor infected with Ebola while working in his native Sierra Leone has died, becoming the second patient in the US to succumb to the virus. Martin Salia, a US resident, was flown to Nebraska for treatment on Saturday, but doctors said he was already suffering advanced Ebola symptoms. Salia was the 10th patient treated in the United States. The World Health Organization said on Friday Ebola has claimed almost 5,200 lives across 8 countries. Well, next, my dress, my choice. The message from protesters in the Kenyan capital on Monday as they expressed outrage over a woman being attacked in the street for wearing a miniskirt. A video circulating on social media shows a woman being stripped by a mob of men in Nairobi after they deemed her skirt too tight and too short. Protesters, both men and women, brought central Nairobi to a standstill as they called for dignity and respect for all.
Skirts, shorts, or dresses. They were marching for the right to wear whatever they want. Hundreds of Kenyan women took to the streets of Nairobi to protest against a string of street attacks.
Keep quiet when others are being oppressed. Yes. We want action. We want the perpetrators put behind bars.
Protesters marched to the bus stop where one of these attacks took place. Last week, a woman was stripped naked and beaten by a mob in broad daylight. Similar attacks have taken place across Kenya, targeting women wearing clothes considered by some as too skimpy. Accusations that have angered women and human rights activists.
There's no standards for clothing in this country. There's no standards. That's the reason why the Maasai, the Samburu can walk around naked and no one is going to ask them any question. You can't come to them and say, I'm indecent. Who are you to judge my clothing?
The movement has gained support from both men and women, especially on social media. But the issue has also divided the Kenyan society, and not necessarily along gender lines, with more traditional women feeling the victims are to blame.
Choice has got responsibility. You cannot go dressing anyhow, doing whatever you do. We have to be responsible as women. No. You can't show us your buttocks.
The country's police chief has urged the victims to come forward. So far, no one has been charged.
Well, Well, staying with this story, Japhet Begon is an East Africa researcher for Amnesty International. He says that gender inequality remains an issue in Kenya.
So generally, culturally, and also in terms of religion, women across the country in Kenya are treated as of the lesser gender. Religion and cultural rules and regulations ascribe to women gender roles and behaviors that make them of a lesser gender in society, and therefore discrimination against women in many spheres of their lives, both in private and public, remain an issue of concern, not only for Amnesty International, but for many other organizations that work on gender and women issues in the country.
Amnesty International's Japhet Begon there. Well, time now for a look at some news in brief. Staying in Kenya, police shot dead a man and arrested over 200 others during raids on 2 mosques in the coastal town of Mombasa. Officials said the mosques were used to radicalise militants and store weapons. Kenya blames Somalia's Islamist group Al-Shabaab for a series of recent attacks. At least 2 people have been killed in the Somali town of Baidoa amid ongoing power struggles over local elections. Demonstrations turned violent as hundreds protested to stop elections for the local president of the southwest state. Despite unrest, officials said the former National Parliament Speaker Sharif Hassan Sheikh Aden was elected to the post. Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan will ask Parliament to extend a state of emergency in 3 northeastern states hit by an Islamist insurgency. The state of emergency in Borno, Yobe and Adamawa expires this week. The militant group Boko Haram has vowed to continue attacks in the region. On Sunday, a female suicide bomber killed 13 people in Bauchi. The International Criminal Court says the trial of Ivory Coast ex-president Laurent Gbagbo will begin in July 2015. Gbagbo faces 4 counts of crimes against humanity allegedly committed during post-electoral violence back in 2010. 69-year-old Gbagbo was transferred to The Hague in November 2011, becoming the first ex-head of state to face prosecution at the ICC. And finally, the 6th edition of the Tour of Rwanda got underway this weekend. The international competition brings together cycling enthusiasts from across the world. During the first stage on Sunday, the Rwandan cyclist Hadi Janvier held on to the yellow jersey, but it was a close finish, as Shirley Sitborn reports.
The race took full speed this Monday as cyclists rode 100 kilometers from Kigali to Kibungo in the east. This year, it seems fans cheering competitors along the road are more numerous than ever. Organizers say that many cyclists, too, have tried to join the popular event.
The Tour has become an important competition and is now well known throughout the world. This means that many people contact us because they want to take part in the race. But with our means, we can't accept them all.
There are many competitors, but this year Tour of Rwanda enthusiasts are focusing on 2 men, Mekseb Debse from Eritrea and the Moroccan cyclist on his heels, Moussine Lasseni. The Eritrean won Monday's stage, making him more confident about the final victory.
At this stage I have 8 points. It's very nice to increase my point, and still I lead the African Tour. Yeah, I'm so happy about that.
But the race is far from over. Mountain stages in which cyclists struggle the most haven't started yet. They will on Tuesday. The finish line will be crossed on Sunday in Kigali's Amahoro Stadium.
Right, your Africa team is back in about 45 minutes' time. Do join us then. But up next, more international headlines.